Friday nights in the fall, Skylights, a true Pittsburgh sports broadcasting legend, a name and face that defined local sports coverage for decades. From Friday night highlights to unforgettable on air moments, he brought the energy, the passion, and the personality to every story that he told. You know him from his time anchoring sports across Western Pennsylvania television and creating the iconic Fedko Zone. I'm thrilled to welcome to the Troopcast this week John Fedko. John, hello and welcome to oneBURGH and the Troopcast.
Ed, you're too nice. I'm not worthy of that introduction. By the way, this guy's a genius right here. You know that, Ed, right? You know.
I know him too.
The guy's a genius, and Channel 11. I'm an old guy. I'm 65, so let's start with that. I'm a really old guy. Okay, so
You don't look it.
Well, my wife says I need Botox, so I'm not sure about that. We may have to get a Skin Center sponsorship here.
We're going to get a sponsor. We're going to get a sponsor.
Really great, by the way. So I've had hair transplants, and I had that in the 20s, and the guy that did that, Dr. Brandy, is an absolute genius. And that used to be Newhart. Now it's Skin Center. Okay, and of course,
give me his number.
Just for me, I know. But I should have said it with Brandy. The guy was unbelievable. Now it's the Skin Center, great place.
Of course.
I actually go in there every now and then if they have beautiful women that work the counter there. Okay, it's the Skin Center. What are you going to say? And they're awesome there. They do a great job there. But my wife, every time somebody says, "Hey, you look good," I always remind her. My wife constantly says, "You need Botox." So
wait, John, you had the hair. You had the hair done. Does that still grow now? How does that work?
You know what? It's amazing, Brian, on this. And I was just talking to those girls over at the Skin Center about this when I last saw them over there. This is a true story. I was 50 years old, and I had the hair transplants done when I was in my 20s. I was on the air, and Brandy was so good at it that he was doing it while I was on the air. Now, he was doing it as my hair was receding. So I had about 10 of them. And again, I cannot tell you how great Dr. Brandy was. This guy was a real genius, and he was a real pioneer in hair transplants. So I was really fortunate to be in Pittsburgh. We in Pittsburgh, we have this incredible medical community where there's these medical pioneers, and Brandy was one of them. He was one of them. He used to advertise, and he should have, that he was an amazing hair. Look at this, my hair.
It's perfect.
That's Dr. Brandy.
Looks great.
That is Dr. Brandy. And I knew, hey, I'm on television. I could either go bald. Brandy called me and said, "Hey, John, I'll give you hair transplants." And I said, "How much is it going to cost?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "I'm in."
Of course.
And I was running down there. But here's the thing.
And wait, Fedko, you can't show up on TV bald.
I could, but listen, when it was free. And Brandy, he kind of used me as a walking advertisement. And look, I always tell everybody, man, I think he's retired. If he's not, Dr. Brandy, get out of retirement. He's a genius. But
it's still held.
Newhart is now the Skin Center.
You look great, John.
They do a phenomenal. But anyway, I'm going to tell you my story. So I'm 50 years old. My hair was pitch black at 50. It was something. I'm like, kept turning to my wife saying, "Am I ever going gray?" It has to have to do with the hair transplants. Now, what they told me at the Skin Center was because they take the hair out of that bottom of your neck. That's the part that doesn't turn gray. So I was literally 50 years old, and my hair was jet black. Now it started going gray around 60, and now I'm doing the old Just for Men. But
John, how does it work though? Do they pick it out and they pull it out and then replant it in the top?
I tried not to think about it. But yeah, I guess they take it out of the back. But my back, I have a thick head of hair in the back and the front.
Yeah.
This is the genius of Dr. Brandy. That's all I can tell you.
I love it. Well, it's perfect because when, Ed, John and I work in his basement to do Fedko on oneBURGH every week, which has been a treat. I'm taller than John. I'm 1.5 feet taller than John. I look down on that head. It's perfect. There's not even a hole. There's not even a mark.
Yeah. I think, again, the Newhart is now the Skin Center. And I don't know if they do hair transplants over there, but I can't thank the guy enough. He lives
awesome.
He lives in the North Hills around here.
It's awesome.
In a palatial mansion, which he deserves.
It's definitely worked out well for you because you look, as we told you when we first saw you back in August when we did the photo shoot before we started with you here on oneBURGH.
I'm trying to figure out where I would get the Botox. He said in my eyes, I don't know.
Yeah, you look good, man.
Listen, now that I'm a star on oneBURGH, it's all about Brian. I worked in the old days. Listen, I worked in the old days, Ed, when the GM would call you in and say, "You're 10 pounds overweight, lose it." You think that happens anymore? I don't think in this market it does.
No, there's no way. Or I would have been told by now.
I worked in those days when the GM would call you up and say, "You're overweight, lose weight." and it wasn't politically incorrect.
Wow.
So if Brian, who runs this network, says, Fedko, you need Botox, you're not looking good, I guess I'm going to the skin center.
John, it was a different age, though, don't you think? Because let's not name names, but if you had to rank and give a
Let's
grade
name
to
names.
the looks of the people who are on TV right now, I would give Pittsburgh a C plus.
A what?
A C plus.
I give a D minus. Now I'm a tough grade. I'm a tough. And listen, I don't watch a lot of local news.
Yeah.
And Ed, you may want to chime in because you may be watching local news. Do you? Because I
A
don't.
little bit,
No,
not much.
Listen.
Not much.
Nobody's. When you're on TV, it's a privilege. It's a privilege. So first, let me just say this: I have a 32-inch waist, and that's just discipline. From if I want to be on the air and I want to be in front of camera, I need to look good. Number one, and I try my hardest to do it. And weight's an easy one because that's a discipline thing. Okay, there's just no excuse for a guy like me. But it is important the way you look. Okay.
Yeah.
And whether we want to talk about it or not, whether you want to not, you know what I'm saying? Channel 11 had the lookers, man. If you go back into the 80s and 90s, let's go back, Ed, real quick, because I started in 87. When I started in 87, Channel 11 was still what you call a dog. We were number 3, and a distant number 3 to KDKA, and a semi-distant number 3 to 2. Now they had legends over there, man. You're talking
Heavy hitters. Heavy hitters.
They had Don Cannon over it. Oh, and of course DiNardo.
Mm-hmm.
And Channel 2 had Patty and Daddy. Now they were doing noon, okay? But think of the sports guys I came in here with. First of all, Channel 11 did have a famous sports guy, and that's what was saving that station at the time, by the way, was Sam Nover. Legend, unbelievable professional, just a network guy, man. He broke stories. He had so many inside guys over at the Steelers. He would break Steelers stuff all the time. And
John, I think I told you the other day that I just listened to an interview with Sam Nover and Roberto Clemente, and it blew me away because in, I guess, our generation, Sam Nover was a little bit older when we took him in, and we just kind of knew him as kind of talking news and kind of being that talking head. This interview with Clemente was really groundbreaking stuff.
They made a record.
Really great.
They made a record.
It was phenomenal.
Did you know that? They made an actual record, and the record was sold nationwide of that interview because Clemente didn't do a lot of interviews. He was very, very reserved. Okay. But anyway, let's go back to the chicks. So there's only one girl I see that's real good looking right now. And Ed, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
I'm not saying anything.
It's the girl that does mornings at Channel 11. Tom Zach. I don't know. Is she related?
Oh, yeah, I know her. Her name is the blonde girl, very skinny.
She's old. I don't know what her name is. Tomaszak, whatever.
Tomaszak. Lindsay Tomaszak.
What is it?
Tomaszak.
You know what I'm talking about? It is morning chat. That's an indictment that we don't know her name. Isn't that an indictment of local news?
That is true.
It is. That's it. Here's 3 guys. We don't know who the anchors are over there. That's an indictment of Channel 11. It's not an indictment of me. It's not an indictment of you. It's not an indictment of you. That's an indictment of Channel 11. That I don't know.
Ed,
but I know
tell John Fedko who you think is the #1 hottest girl on news. Tell Mr. Fedko. Tell us, Fed.
I could be missing somebody.
Tell us. Who do you think?
Listen,
I'm going to punt on that question because I don't want to offend anyone.
Two semi had him. You could say Patty, maybe. Okay, but listen. Listen to what 11 had. We got Edie Tarbox, and she was a bench warmer. Edie Tarbox, do you remember her? She
yes.
Dagny Holcream. And she dated Bubby Brister. And then there was Dagny Holcream, which was her friend. She went on the E, by the way. And Warren Beatty ruined her career.
Why? How?
It was Warren Beatty who ruined her career. She used to do E pre-Oscar stuff, and Beatty got out of a limo and just did a horrific interview with her, and they fired her at E. That's what I remember. But anyway, she wasn't in the top 5. But when you talk, we've lost Brian. You still there, Brian?
Yeah,
okay, listen. First of all, Peggy Finnegan was absolutely stunning when she started. Okay, and I want to talk about the girls when they're at the top of their game. We all get old. I'm old. Okay, but when these girls are at the top of their game, when Peggy Finnegan started in 89, stunning.
Yeah.
Peggy Finnegan had the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen in a television anchor.
And I
They
saw her at the
were
airport. I think I told you,
stunning.
John. I saw her at the airport, and I was blown away how beautiful she was in person.
She was beautiful. Her face was beautiful. It was a brilliant hire by Channel 11. She was a very, very nice person, great personality that came across on the air, but she had those eyes were stunning. They just like
Yes.
you were floored when you saw her. And
Right.
and guys, let's do some guy talk because none of this is off crazy. So
Right.
we knew when Peggy Finnegan was hired, okay, all the guys. It's like, okay, some rich guy's gonna get this chick. Someone's gonna get her because she said, "What a catch!" Guess what?
Right.
Some guy's riding a bicycle down, one of those Donahue guys, one of the guys that's like got houses in Cape Cod, and yeah, he roped her in. So
Okay.
she married this rich guy, house in Cape Cod,
Of
all the
course.
dough.
Yes.
Same thing happened with what I'm going to tell you was the most beautiful woman that was ever on TV here, Margaret
Who?
Shortridge from Upper St. Clair.
Okay.
Upper St. Clair. Stunning. Margaret Shortridge, stunning. Okay. Same thing. When she gets hired, some rich guy's getting this girl really.
Yeah.
And guess what? She married a bond trader from a bond trader that was worth a bit. She went to Chicago where she belonged.
Yeah.
Star in Chicago on TV. Margaret Shortridge, and this is Upper St. Clair, man. Upper St. Clair, the high school, everything. They produced Margaret Shortridge. I'm going to tell you another stunner that's really underrated. Really underrated, and you had to see her in person. Unfortunately, people look different on TV than in person, okay?
Yeah.
She was much more stunning in person, but she was still beautiful, and a real credit to Beaver County. There's beautiful women in Beaver County. There really are. And she came from Center High School, which is now Central. Julie Bologna was beautiful.
Beautiful.
When she started, listen, Kevin Benson, and I love Kevin Benson. He's on Facebook, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. I remember this. See, when you're old like me, you had things like this. You remember stuff 20 years ago, like yesterday. For some reason, your memory gets better. I remember when Julie Bologna was hired. Kevin Benson comes up in the sports department because guys are guys. We're always talking about girls.
Of course.
He goes, wait till you see the new weather chick. What a package. So
Yes.
all I can describe is she was the total pack. Beautiful. I want to emphasize this. All three girls I just mentioned were not only beautiful on the air, they were beautiful off the air. Great personality and a credit to Western Pennsylvania. Margaret Shortridge, one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. Julie Bologna, who's doing real estate now in Texas. One of the nicest people you'd ever meet. And she was stunning in person. And Peggy Finnegan, incredibly nice. Off the air, on the air. I want to mention one underrated one that somebody has tweeted about. Esther Tro. Do you guys remember Esther Tro? She's in the Halloween special. Oh, my goodness.
Esther Tro.
David Johnson had the quote on Esther Tro. And trust me. Yeah. Anyway. David Johnson, Esther Tro walks in the newsroom, and David Johnson comes running up. You see this new news girl we got? I go, no. He goes, oh, she's exotic. That's
okay.
She Esther Tro, stunning. Okay,
Ed, now's the time for you to put Esther Tro's picture right next to Fedko's face, so we see her.
She was doing some kind of she's still out there. She's from San Diego. Looks like a San Diego girl.
Yeah.
But Esther Tro was the real deal. But I stand by Margaret Shortridge was network material. And that
Julie Bologna, I met when I was at B94. I interviewed her as like Weather Person Week. Julie Bologna blew me away. Like she changed my life forever.
I love her. And we would do pep rallies at Center, and Julie was from Center. So and they loved her out there. She was great in high school. You know, I was a geek in high school. But you go back to Center, and they're still talking about, hey, Julie Bologna.
Julie Bologna.
And she was really good at everything. I'm not just gonna. I don't want to get out of it. It's all about their looks. They were really good at what they did. They were really good anchors. Julie was a really good weather person. Really produced the weather well. It was a huge loss, I thought, when Channel 11 lost her. She still looks great. Look, she's on Twitter. Look her up. She's real estate.
I am going to look her up, John. I will look her up.
She's doing real estate in Dallas, and knowing Julie, she's probably selling a ton of it. She's a really nice person. She really is. Anyway, there you go.
John, I just have to tell you, I've known Ed for almost 30 years. This conversation, it makes Ed want to jump out and crawl out of his skin.
Why? Ed, why does it? Why? Listen,
Why, Ed?
Brian,
Why don't you want
Brian,
to tell Mr. Fedko what makes you feel uncomfortable about this?
Nothing. No, we're good. I just don't have any insight on it. At least
you
on
don't
the
have
air.
any insight.
Off the
I
air,
don't.
I
Hey,
could
I
have
don't.
plenty of
I.
insight.
It's a total indictment of local news that we don't
Yeah.
That's
even know who
true.
these people
That's
are.
true.
That's an
I saw
indictment.
Mary Hours yesterday from KDK. She's a weather person, John. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't.
But she's Julie Bologna-esque. Mary on television
Yeah.
is beautiful, and she's
Okay.
very talented.
What station's she on?
KDKA,
Okay.
who, by the way,
Brian, I'll
has
watch her and I'll tell you she's
overtaken.
beautiful. Okay. When is she on?
Okay,
When is she on?
I don't know. Maybe right now. Nobody knows when
Now you
she's
know
on.
me. I'm going to tell it like it is, baby.
I know.
Okay.
No one knows when she's on. And I have no idea when she's on, but she's maybe 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I meet her yesterday in person. She's 10 times more beautiful in person than on
That
television.
is TV makes you look different. I'll buy that. Julie
Yeah.
Valloy is the perfect example of that. TV never did her justice. You
Yeah.
may go look back on video and go, what is the world's Fedko talking about? You had to see what Kevin Benson said. She's the total package. And he'll remember saying that. All right.
Yeah.
He got to work with her.
Yeah, he knew.
I'm back there working with Sam Nova and Derek Gunn. Who, by the way, Derek Gunn was a great talent. You know,
Love Derek Gunn. He used to host the fifth quarter.
Yes, and he was very, very talented. And he went on to be a superstar, which he should have been in Philly. The talent in sports was insane. I was a bench warmer compared to Nova and Gunn. Those guys were real pros, really good at what they did. And I'm grateful I got to work with guys like that. And of course, in the other stations, I got Steigerwald, who I'm a huge fan of. I think John Steigerwald was awesome. His brother was awesome. I think Pomp's very, very good. And I think Richie Walsh is a real star.
A protege of yours, man. Protege, right?
We're going to bring up Richie with you.
And Rich is one of, again, a lot of times you'll see the same traits of the guys you say are stars. Rich Walsh is as nice on the air as he is off the air. It comes across on the air. He's a local guy from Penn Hills and was a good athlete there, okay? And one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and he's really, really good. Richie Walsh is and Pomp's good.
And how about that head of hair on Rich? What about the head of hair on Rich?
It's incredible.
Perfect. It's incredible.
I don't think he needs brandy.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
Rich
He doesn't.
Good.
Yeah, no. And I love Rich Walsh. Now, see, I don't even know I don't know the other people. And who's doing sports at 4? Is it still Stocky? Who's over there? I don't even know.
Yeah. Stocky's still on 4.
We've had Stocky on. We've had Walsh on. When Walsh has been on the Troopcast, John, he's a big fan of yours. Always goes out of his way to talk about you.
Well, I just love Rich. I worked with him, and he was phenomenal work with. Just a great guy. I love him, and he's great now. He's very, very good. We do have good people on the air here still.
John, how's your experience been on oneBURGH so far this fall with Brian? I mean, you've become a superstar on oneBURGH.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But I appreciate you saying that, Ed. I'm just grateful to be working with a guy that's as creative as Brian. Let's go back to Channel 11.
Thank you, John.
I mean this with all sincerity, Brian. It always starts at the top. Channel 11 went from a dog, and I didn't finish the story because by 1995, Ed, we were number 1. We were the number 1 rated. That's an amazing turnabout for those who remember the WIIC days. I mean, Channel 11, nobody was watching it. And they brought in a guy named John Howell. And John Howell made tough but brilliant decisions, okay? He went with, the girls have to be beautiful. Whether you like it or not, that's what he did, okay?
Yeah.
And by the way, Peggy Finnegan was beautiful, and she was on the air for 40 years. We all get old.
We all acknowledge that Peggy Finnegan was beautiful.
She was beautiful, okay?
Yes.
And Margaret followed her up, was also on there, was beautiful. Julie was beautiful. And she brought in crazy guys. I'm not beautiful, I'm nuts, okay?
Right.
So
guys can be fun.
Fun and kind of like, and by the way, 4 had Myron, okay?
Yeah.
Myron was over there doing great stuff. Myron Cope, of course, brilliant in everything. How about his songs? Remember those?
Oh my God.
Myron Cope, we were so blessed to have these literal geniuses working here. Myron Cope was incredible. And he was over at 4. Another guy, I'm again always a huge fan of with John Steigerwald. Very creative, the dry humor, very Keith Olbermann like. Okay,
Hmm.
if Keith Olbermann, whether you get all the politics out of both those guys, they're creative and they're funny. I'd watch Steigerwald, I'd be
Yes.
laughing.
Yeah.
The dry humor stuff really plays in sports. Okay, so think of what you had to watch on TV. You could watch the dry humor guy who's really smart and from the area and knows everything about sports, which is Steigerwald. You could watch straight as an arrow, but unbelievably knowledgeable about sports, Stan Savarin or Billy Hillgrove at 4. They went straight. I'm okay with that. There's a huge audience for that here. Then you get Nover, one of the best local sportscasters in the history of television, and the idiot. I'm Jerry Lewis, kind of, not with the talent. He's Dean Martin. I'm Jerry Lewis. So you get the crazy guy.
Yeah.
So you had this spectrum, and it was all very creative. The fact that we don't know who's doing sports, other than Richie, who's incredibly good, and I would put Richie and Pomp. I would put them in that 4 category. Okay, very knowledgeable. I trust those guys. I want to watch Pomp doing pregame. He's great at it. Bob Papiani's tremendous. That's why he's
Yes.
still on the air. And Richie's great. I want to watch these guys, okay? The other people, I'm not watching them. Just not watching them. I don't even know who they are.
I was going to say there's
Ed,
not many
I
more.
don't even know.
You named
that's
them all,
not
John.
an indictment of
You named
me.
them all.
Ed, that's not an indictment of me. It's an indictment of the stations.
John.
Let me go. Let me have one more thing about oneBURGH. I want to make my point here about Brian. And I'm serious about this. If Brian and I ran a station, you put Brian and I in front of Channel 11. Like, give us Channel 11, seriously, with no stipulations. Just, we're firing the GM, we're firing the news director. Brian's GM, Fedko's the news director. They could do it. I will guarantee we'll be number 1 in 3 years.
Take over the city.
Across the board.
Take over the city, Ed.
Across the board, and we would be a dominant number 1. Now, again, that's not an indictment. I mean, that's not saying you and I are geniuses. It's possible. You can dominate. It's not over. Local television is not over. You just got to give people something to watch.
That's very true.
I tried to find in channel. Listen, again, I'm just your normal viewer now. I would say, okay, what's Channel 11 doing with Skylights? I got a Twitter account that says Skylights. Okay, you can see guys are still doing it. So I went to their Twitter account to see what games they were covering last week. I couldn't find it. Ed, they have a Twitter account. All I wanted to know is what games you're going to be at. I couldn't even find that.
I don't think they're at any games, John. I don't think they do it. They don't look at it the same way anymore. But what you just said there is so important. It's not that local news or local interest or entertainment or comedy or whatever is dead. It's that it's not being fed to anybody. And so there's no, the audience is ready to see, like you said, D- looking people presenting D- level material. And we're used to it. And the worst part is, I feel like Pittsburgh has accepted it.
Well, I want to be clear about the D- stuff. Again, I have a 32-inch waist, okay?
Look at that. Whoa, listen, I didn't think we'd see your waist today.
There's no excuses. I mean, I would show my abs. When you're in TV, it's really easy to lose weight. I'm sorry. I tell my daughter this all the time. I have a daughter, baby Kaylee, who's an anchor in Savannah. Yeah. I said, you got to look perfect, man. You got to be beautiful. I'm sorry, you're on TV. You're asking people to watch you, okay? And it's just,
John,
Ed, let me give you, there's three rules. I've always, in television, when I got in at 22, I was always going to be in shape. Number 1, I was never going to swear. Ed, the last time I said a swear word, I was 18 years old. That's on, off the air, anywhere.
I've never heard John swear.
Swear word. You'll never hear me one. And if anybody ever says I said one, they're lying.
Ed, I've been with Fedko for 9 straight weeks. I met him for like 4 weeks leading up. I've never heard him curse once.
What's the third one, John?
But how easy is that? How easy is that? It's easy not to swear. I mean, they're like, and so how many people have been fired because they accidentally swore?
That's right. Right. So, what's number 3?
Of the 3, never going to strip club. I've never been in a
There you go.
I've never, ever been in a strip club. Ever. Because if I go into a strip club, I would, number 1, you're looking for blackmail. You're asking for it.
That is true. Yes.
Okay? Again, I'm sorry. I'm on television. I can't pick up hookers. And there's a TV guy that did it one time here, and that's what he's known for. You can't. There's stuff you just can't do as a man.
And think about the cell phone technology of the day. You didn't deal with that during
I
skylights.
know.
You can't go to a strip club. You can't go anywhere without it being filmed.
But
You're
what I find
dead.
hilarious, and Ed, you'll know this, is I'm listening to these talk shows. Of course, Madden talks about, he used to talk about porn and strip clubs all the time. I think he's laid off it a little bit. But half of their commercials are strip clubs. Now, I will say this, and I don't want anything to do with strip clubs. I hate them, okay? But what's funny is I was doing the Fedko phone zone, and that was a nightmare. And apparently there was apparently there was a strip club that was doing commercials on there. And I did go, and I didn't even know that because you don't see the commercials. You know, back in those days, that show was so poorly produced. It wasn't the producer's fault; it was the people that put it together. But anyway, we had no 7-second delay. Complained to that till the end. They made me do that show. But there was a strip club that had an ad on that, and I went to management. Now, I'm the easiest employee in the world, except when it comes to morals. God is everything to me. Everything to me. My faith, my morals mean everything to me. I went to management and said, I heard do you have a strip club that's, if you do, get it off. Because I'll quit before you put me on the air with this. Now I'm listening to like Pony or whatever those guys are, and they're literally reading the strip club stuff. Like, hey,
Live reads.
Join us at the Candy Club with Bambi. It's ridiculous. It's unacceptable. And if you want to be Madden and you want to be the WDE guy and talk about porn and whatever, you're going to turn off guys like me, and you don't care. He's got 120,000 followers, whatever.
Fine.
But you're going to be remembered for that. Just know
that's
that.
right.
Okay?
That's right. It follows you. It follows you forever.
It follows you forever.
Did you say that your daughter is on TV now?
Baby Kelly, yeah, Kelly. She's at WSAV in Savannah, Georgia. She used to be a big star in Skylights. They used to take her to the pep rally.
Right.
Little baby Kelly.
Yeah. Little baby.
So she's now she followed in your footsteps.
Yeah, let me hear.
That's great. Hey, John, just so you know, and Ed wants to segue into a little bit of sports talk.
Sure, of course.
We promised his people we would, but I just want you to know, and I don't think you believe me when I tell you what an impact you have on my professional career, my sense of humor, Ed's sense of humor. When we met, one of the first things in college that we talked about, me being a Montour kid and Ed being a Bell Vernon kid, was our love of you and Skylights and what you did. There she is. Little baby.
There's baby Kaylee right there.
Little baby Kaylee.
By the way, she's applied at Channel 11 and they shut her down.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, they won't hire her.
How short-sighted. As I was trying to compliment you, John.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know what's going on over there. I said, and listen, look, for all they made, I could walk in that half the newsroom's not going to know who I am, and I'm okay with that. I've been off the air for 10 years.
I know, but look at how short-sighted it is. With the legacy that you have, your name's not John Smith. Thank God you were not born John Smith, because you would not have the same impact, right? You're John Fedko, and that means something in Pittsburgh. How short-sighted of any station not to bring Kaylee Fedko onto Channel 11. It's legacy. Look at the Pompianis. Look at the Burns. Look at all these people.
Listen,
little baby Kaylee.
Well, congratulations to your daughter,
she's in Savannah, Georgia, and she loves it there. It's a great place.
Back to you, Ed.
Yeah,
let me ask you the other question too. Is your sons both play baseball? One's in the minor league system with the is it the Twins?
Yeah, yes. So Kyler, who by the way is out hitting right now, which he should be. So Kyler's in AAA. Really had a really great AAA season. Ended up with 28 homers, 38 steals. I think batted about 260 overall, but a much higher batting average in AAA. He got called up to AAA in August. So he's in the Twins system, loves the Twins. It's a great organization. They're in a little bit of a downspin now. He thought he was going to get called up in September. He did not. But, here's the story, Ed, that it is kind of big. I know he's my kid, okay? But he just turned 26. So, it's getting to be a critical part in his career. So he is not, as of today, as far as I know, is not on their 40-man roster. Okay. Now, to go up to be called up to the bigs in September, and he had the numbers to be called up. He should have been, but they didn't. Whatever. So they have their reasons. They would have to put him on the 40-man roster. Well, guess what? if they don't put him on the 40-man roster in December, he's Rule 5 draft eligible, which means the Pirates could pick him up for $100,000.
Right.
Now, I want to give you his stats again, and I know he's my kid, and I know, and that probably maybe that hurts him here, seriously, but
It doesn't.
It may. So I'm going to give
It
you
can't.
Ed, I'm going to give you his stats again. He has 28 homers last year in the minors, 38 steals. Okay, so I mean, he almost went 30-30. Hit a home run his last at bat at St. Paul. You think the Pirates could use a guy like that?
Sure.
I'm just saying.
John, Jack Sawinski is in our starting lineup, and he bats
I
120.
know. I just drives
Do we
me nuts.
need him? Do we need Kyler Fedko? Yes.
He's got 28 homers and 38 steals.
We need Kaylee Fedko. We'd take anybody.
Channel 11 doesn't want, and they have their reasons. I don't know what their reasons are over there. But you have Kyler plays all three outfield positions, and he plays first. Now, they had him playing first because the Twins have some power needs at first, and Kyler's got power.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Christian, my other son Christian, plays in the Frontier League, which is a tremendous league.
Right.
And he's having a lot of fun there. Where Christian got burned was he was going to be drafted in that draft right after COVID, and they went to 5 rounds. So he was a Cape Cod League All-Star, played at Harwich, made the started on the Cape Cod League. When you start on the Cape Cod League All-Star team, you're going to get drafted. But he was in the 5-round drafts. So that draft killed him. So it wasn't draft. He went back to play instead of signing as a free agent. So now he's in the Frontier League. He has made the Frontier League All-Star team twice. So and the Frontier League is incredibly well run. It is incredibly well run. There's a really great franchise here, the Washington Wild Things, very well run.
Sure,
and it really is really well. A beautiful stadium, and they have great players there. You know, Jay Caulfield's kid plays there. Caulfield.
I didn't know that.
Oh, he's really good. He's really good. You would think so. He's his brother. And he's a great guy. If you had hit on him, he's a really nice guy.
Not yet.
His brother plays for the Washington Wild Things and really good. Hey. Anyway, Christian plays at Schaumburg, and they made it to the Frontier League World Series, best of 5, made it to the 5th game. They were leading going to the 9th inning and lost it. Great game though. But anyway,
that's tough. That is tough. Hey, John, we're actually up against the clock. We've gone over our 30 minutes. So let me just ask you one question here just to finish up. And we'll have you back on again, by the way. I think we're going to try to get you on each week here the next few weeks so we can talk more WPIL high school football, get into some of your thoughts. But let me ask you this. There's been some talk recently that, the WPIL is going to be changing some leadership at the top here in the next month or two, transitioning. And there are currently a 6 classification format. We know what it looks like at 4. 6 is kind of watered down. What's your thoughts on going back to a 4 classification format, especially for football?
I would be against it because it's really all about the kids. And I'm really concerned about participation in football. I think it's a great sport. And I think the more we can make the more we can get kids to participate in it, the better. Remember what football brings. It brings the bands and it brings the cheerleaders. Equally as important, okay? Ask anybody who's played in a marching band. It's phenomenal. It's great. And to have a marching band, you usually have to have a football team. So you want to have that element in your school. And so with 6 classifications, Ed, you get 6 championships. And especially those little schools, like great stories this year. South Allegheny, Southmoreland, just great stories, okay? You want those stories every year. You want those teams to be able to compete for championships or at least have a shot at it. And if you take it down to 4, you're going to lose 2 WPIAL championships. I think it'd be a huge mistake. So I'm hoping they stay with 6 for the kids' sake. I mean, 5A is already stacked with powerhouses.
Right.
And 4A this year was stacked with powerhouses. Okay. Yep. So if you're getting stacked with powerhouses, in my ideal world, I want as many kids as possible to participate in the high school football experience and to be able to play for a championship. And that's why I would be dead against going to 4 for any reason, because I would more want 7. I'd love to see those smaller schools even break up more. Because listen, let's face it, A this year is going to be, I think, Clairton, and they're phenomenal. Okay,
Right.
and Fort
Fort
Cherry is
Cherry.
phenomenal.
Yep.
So it's probably your final. And I'll pick. I think Clairton. They're phenomenal, and I
Yeah.
love Clairton, the city of
Agreed.
prayer. I love that sign when you come into Clairton. I loved going to games at Clairton. I
And
maybe should have put him in my top 5. I forgot. I loved going
Your
to games.
fly-in, your
the
favorite
new
fly-ins.
I
the new
just love
Tyler
Clairton.
Boyd Stadium is phenomenal too,
One of
John.
the top. We were going to do a top 5 players. One of the top 5 players I've ever seen in high school football, Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. And I saw him play a lot in person, and sensational football player. You could just look at him and say NFL. He's going.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
guy's
Oh
going to
yeah.
NFL.
Well,
And I don't care if he was playing in 1A. We know when you see talent, you saw Terrell Pryor. It's like, I don't care if he's playing at 2A. This guy's, he's NFL. I mean, Terrell Pryor was one of the great athletes in the history of Western Pennsylvania. I don't care what classification he was playing in. He was phenomenal. And of course, the greatest athlete I've ever seen anywhere in high school football, anywhere, is LeVar Arrington.
North Hills.
Number one.
North
Beyond
Hills.
incredible.
I
Beyond,
remember watching
beyond incredible.
Skylights in like 1996 and hearing a voice go, LeVar, superstar. And I was like, who is this guy? And then it was like, oh, now he's at Penn State. And then fast forward, he did a show at WJFK in Washington, D.C., where I was doing nights, and it all came together. And I met him, and I was like, does the name LeVar, superstar? And he goes, John Fedko. I was like, of course.
What a nice guy.
Of course.
He is one in a million. But there's the Western Pennsylvania landscape is peppered with great players. And we've got some now. The Scoop over at Woodland Hills is the real deal, and he could
Scoop
be the
Smith.
difference. That team could win 5A because of him.
Mhm.
Okay, and there's still great players playing right now that you should go out and see. You should go out and see Matt Sig, even though he hasn't been throwing the ball. He's a really phenomenal player at
Fort Cherry. He sure has been, John. Hey, your favorite place to go? I know you've always talked about my alma mater, Bell Vernon. But outside of Bell Vernon, where are some of your other favorite spots?
Well, we talked about Clairton. So I like, let's talk about some of the places I didn't, because I did the one on this. But I want to talk about some of the other ones. And I love going to Northgate. Northgate was real close to Channel 11, and they always were really warm there. They great welcome. They'd help you out there. The Northgate Flames. It's like a little stadium behind them.
Right.
I love that Main Street's really cool. Okay?
Oh yeah, Lincoln.
The little stadium. Yep, right behind Main Street.
Yeah.
I really like going to Northgate. I mentioned, I actually I like going to Martirelli Stadium because it was so close. And of course they had that the crazy people up in the corner up the house up there, which has since been
North
stolen.
Hills. Yep.
Yeah. That there was always a big party going up there. But I want to be on. Listen, some people think, well, Fedko just says this stuff about the bands and cheerleaders. I'm going to tell you something. I guarantee you, when I went to Martirelli Stadium at North Hills, I wouldn't leave till the end of the halftime because I wanted to see their band. The North Hills band was really good, and it was, and that stadium, the sound was really good. So I would stand there and Fedko, what are you doing? I'm watching the band, man. They're awesome. They're down there. They're down there playing the Stones, man. They were awesome. I love the bands. I love marching bands. It's a great part of high school. We didn't give it enough coverage at Channel 11. We should have done a couple of minutes on it. We put them on for like 30 seconds. Love marching bands. Just love them.
John, how did you come up with the Fedko Zone idea?
The Fedko Zone I came up with in Milwaukee. I was at WITI Milwaukee, and I was doing it there. It was on my resume tape coming here. So, again, this was pre-internet. So the networks would send us crazy plays of the week. They'd send it to us. We get that, a roll of that. And there would be always a lot of them. And so I ended up editing that myself with an editor, a guy named John Dumontel. It was a genius. It's always the Brian Carruthers. I'm not saying this facetiously.
Wow, thank you, man.
Let me tell you something. I'm not saying this facetiously. I'm crazy. You already heard me talk for an hour here. I'm nuts. I all the criticism I deserve. Maybe that's why they haven't hired Baby Kelly. It's probably why. But anyway, it was always the behind the scenes things. Ed, the photographers at Channel 11 did skylights were athletes. Okay, these guys are like postal carriers, athletes. Go into a post office and see the guys that walk. They're athletes, and the girls too. They're athletes. So here's why Skylights was great. It wasn't because of this goofball. It was the photographers: Scott Dobson, Ward Hobbs, Tim Holloman, God bless his soul, who has died, Tony Ruffalo, Klingensmith, these Tom Merced up at Butler. We had guys that were like, he'd always do the Butler game, Tom Merced. These guys were athletes, man. They could play college football. That's how good they were. Ward Hobbs was like a movie. He reminded me of Robert Redford, okay? Ward Hobbs should have been in front of the cameras. Good-looking guy. All the girls wanted to go do stories with him. He was a good, he was a stud. And by the way, Channel 4 and 2, those guys had stud photographers too. They're athletes. Those cameras were huge.
Yeah, right.
They were giant.
They weighed like 60 pounds.
So these guys, Ward Hobbs, Scott Dobbs, who's still around,
Yes.
he's still on Facebook. Holloman, Ruffalo, these guys would go out, do all the work. They did all the work. They'd come back. They'd edit it all, okay? And then goofball Fedko, talentless, which I am, all I had to do was watch it and do the highlights. These guys did all the work. There was a great producer still at Channel 11. I'll give him a shout out. I think he's still there. Dean and Pietro. He helped a lot. Rick Minatello, his kid, Ryan, is the guy. Rick Minatello was a genius. A guy named Rick Minatello helped put Skylights together. Was like Brian. He was the producer. Like, here's the games we're going to do here. And a guy named Frank Gilbert was another guy that helped put it together. Behind the scenes, set up the games, had a feud with Matt Lebanon. We never flew over Mount Lebanon because of Frank Gilbert, not me.
Why? What happened?
He was having some kind of feud with a cop over there or something. So he never flew over there. We never flew over to Mount Lebanon, but I always made at home. Well, I always made sure that we covered them a lot on the road because I love Mount Lebanon. My daughter taught there. I love Mount Lebanon. How can you not love Mount Lebanon? It's beautiful.
The Blue Devils.
There's no buses there, right? You know that, Ed?
No buses.
No buses at Mount Lebanon and Northgate. There's no buses.
That's right.
Well, there didn't used to be. Go ahead,
John. Can you close the show out with a song? Do you have a song for us? So you can give us something. I mean, that's my favorite part of your weekly segment that you do on oneBURGH.
Look,
The Candyman one was my favorite.
I love Sammy Davis. What a song! Remember that?
Yes.
Listen if you have Apple Music, listen to Sammy Davis's version of Candyman. It's insane. Okay, my wife gets so mad when I sing those songs.
Really?
What's your favorite vinyl you got behind you?
We need to bring her on. Yeah, she's like, you can't sing. Wait a second. And I love my wife. You don't think I know? I think she thinks I think I can sing.
Wait, she thinks that you and I are recording on Thursdays thinking that you sound like Mick Jagger?
I don't. That's if you criticize it for a lot of stuff. I know I can't sing. That's part of the joke, Tina. You know what I tell her? Listen, I honestly tell her this. Ed, you ever seen Good Morning Vietnam? I love Robin Williams.
Of course. Robin Williams, unbelievable. So Good Morning Vietnam. And the military guys are going, you can't play that. You got to play Andy Williams. And I would tell my wife, you know what? You're the military in Good Morning Vietnam. Because Tina, it's a joke. We're just I'm not. I know I'm not going to be signed to a recording contract.
And I got to tell you, when we're in John's basement recording these on Thursday, which is like such a crazy, wild, fun treat, I think to myself, how are we going to edit this? Like when Fedko sings, you go, oh my God. And his dogs are barking. I think he's hitting octaves that only the dogs can hear.
Ed, when I'm shooting with Brian, this is why, you're shooting with a guy that's unbelievably creative. He's so funny. Brian is so funny. I start laughing. I start crying. We have to take breaks. I'm like, Brian, because Brian's so funny. He'll add this. And it like if you see some of the stuff we did like on Johnny Cash Pistelli, or you see some of those or the Brady Bunch song, Brian will add these touches that are hilarious. And so it's always. I'm not saying this because he's sitting there, because again, John Howell is the reason. The John Howell, the GM of WXI, was the reason they were number one. And by the way, when John Howell left, guess what happened to Channel 11?
Tanked.
Yeah. It always starts at the top. This guy right here is a genius.
Thank you,
I'm going to be long gone. I may be fired by next week, especially after this show. But when I'm gone, Brian Carruthers and oneBURGH, this is the future, Ed.
Absolutely, 100%.
This is it.
And I've known Brian for over 27 years.
He's a
John,
genius.
so I can agree with everything you've just said, my friend. Real quick, what's your favorite vinyl record?
Oh, jeez. We need 30 more minutes.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm 15 over. So
Oh man, you're at my favorite vinyl record. You know what, boy, you're that.
As you're thinking of it, John, let me say, Ed and I are both Dave Matthews fans. As John's trying to put it together, being around Fedko, I've discovered his true passion, which is music, specifically vinyl records. It's
Let
contagious,
me see if I
so
can
much
pull it.
so. Pull it. My
Let me pull.
kids got me my first vinyl because I talk about vinyl now because
This
it's
is
so contagious. When Fedko talks about, where'd he go? It's so contagious
we'll bring him back
when he
on. I'm
talks
gonna let him
about
find his
vinyl.
thing.
Okay.
There you go, John. You back? Hold on
yeah.
for a minute.
I'm going to say one of the all-time great records is incredibly underrated, and everybody thinks Hotel California is his best album. It's not. This is one of the greatest albums of all time, On the Border by the Eagles. Now, this is the one step. You know,
Looks good.
I have like 50 versions of this album because in this album, the UK version is better than the American, and we'll do another show on that later when I start my big vinyl show on oneBURGH.
Yes.
But On the Border by the Eagles.
There it is,
Can't
Ed.
go wrong with the Eagles.
From the
Glenn
first song,
Frey,
from the first song,
Don
Already
Henley.
Gone, to the last one, Best of My Love. It's just one great song after another.
Can't go wrong
Can
with
you
the Eagles.
imagine, Ed?
Agreed.
Ed, for people who are watching behind the scenes, Ed sends a rundown of what he wants to talk about on his show. Could you imagine if we put a rundown to Fedko and we said, hey, we're going to start talking. The first thing we're going to talk about is your hair plugs. Then we're going to get into what Channel 11 personalities were the most beautiful over the years.
Look,
then we're going to talk about Kevin Benson.
I mean, look at this prep.
And then we'd end with the
All
Eagles.
this prep, John. All this prep.
Well, now get
Throw
this
it out.
get the morning chick on over there with Tomaszak, whatever her name is.
Yes.
I've seen her. She's cute.
Oh,
Wait, is he gone?
We just lost him. He's gone. John is gone.
He just shot into outer space. He's gone.
He's out of here. Well, that'll do it for the Troopcast for this week. We'll see you next week right here on oneBURGH. Let's end with that, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
This was a classic, man. This is an instant troop classic.
Instant Troop classic. We'll end with that. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.